I think it's a very interesting question, and your initial assumption would be that there would be a big difference between both global and local clients. But I think one of the key takeouts is scale. The business objectives are always going to be the same. The way of working is always going to be the same, but it's a scale that's, in terms of the client and how they work. Scale in terms of work streams, scale in terms of resources, and maybe even the scale in terms of the business objectives. I think one of the most important things is how you utilize that scale. You'll never be able to touch on every single point or make a contribution. So it's incredibly important that you pull in the right specialists and the right team members to support you in terms of getting things done. For me, it's about identifying or having a very clear understanding in terms of what your client or brand is all about. You need to immerse yourself into that, and I think people take that very lightly. You need to understand what the brand is all about. What is the evolution of the brand? Why are they actually providing that service? And often I say to my team members is, imagine that the brand is your brand that you have created. How would you treat it? What sort of value are you providing the consumer? So it's really less about uniqueness and more about what is the brand trying to get across, what is the value that they're trying to add. And the strategies will then flow. So if you understand your brand in the right way and you understand the evolution of the brand, the strategy will then make sense and be a lot more clear when you're putting it together. And the uniqueness will, funny enough, come from that as well. So having a clear understanding of what the brand is all about will then dictate what the strategy and the uniqueness of that brand will then come to the forefront. This is a very interesting question, and we actually had a good debate the other day in the office about this, because naturally your human instinct is to want to step in and deliver a lot of value for your clients. So that's across all the pillars. And the reality is that is never going to happen. There's just too many moving parts, too many resources involved. I think the way that I like to think about it is really what pillar is going to be the most impactful or provide the most value towards that client's business objective or KPI. And it's about focusing and putting the energy into one, making sure that is addressed, and then building on that momentum. A second way to look at it is also, what is the lowest hanging fruit? So what is the easiest pillar that you can get over the line without maybe having to put too much resources into, that will then provide value towards your clients? So I take that approach when I look at it. I think this stems beyond just clients. I think it stems into human nature and psychology of humans, and it's about not everyone is going to have the same way of working or the same thought pattern or the same way of communicating. But I think the epitome of all of that is communication. And again, communication in the sense of being transparent in the way that you're working, being transparent in terms of expectations. And I think building a good, solid relationship is built on the foundation of good communication. You can get away with anything in life as long as you communicate it. So it's about being very clear and being very open and honest. I think when we start to show a bit of vulnerability and a bit of humanness, people can relate, and support structures and accommodations can be made where needed. And I think it really stems down to